I think there is more magic in this. Having an image from the past and doing a reading from the present where you are trying to gather your knowledge. Hello everyone and welcome back to Happening by Chance. My name is Mariana and today I want to film a VR to an old tag created by Candy, Soul and Soil. This is one of my favorite tags that I've ever seen on TarotTube, and I wanted to participate when it was first around. I even had my list and everything, but for some reason or another I didn't end up participating, and I'm glad that I didn't, because now that some time has passed, I have actually 10 curious decks that I want to show you that are really curious. I feel like if I had done it when it was first launched, I wouldn't have had as many curious, truly curious decks as I do now. I don't know if I said it, the tag is top 10 curiosity decks. So when this tag was first created, there were like two separate versions, or not versions, but like two interpretations of the tag. So I am going to stick to Candy's original interpretation in her video, which is curious decks, in the sense of they have weird structures, or yeah, just like weird, curious, funky little decks that are different. So I'm going to show you mostly oracles, playing cards, and one tarot deck. So I'm going to start with a deck that I used today to post on my Instagram, and that reminded me that I wanted to film this tag, so I got together the decks and here I am. And that is a 16th century deck that actually it was first, I think they were playing card illustrations by an engraver named Jost Amman. He was around in the 16th century and it was a book, but then it got made into a deck and now it is commonly known as the Charta Lusoria. Here, Yodochi Amman. This would probably be like the cover of the book. I bought this deck on Make Playing Cards. I don't super love the backs like this, but this is convenient because it has the information. So it's the name of the creator, Charta Lusoria, and then Anno Domini 338. L is 50. 538. Oh, so maybe it's like 1538? I don't know. Okay, so I'm not going to waste your time trying to figure that out. But this one is curious because of the suits. So in the suits we have ink dabbers. So this is like the thingy that you use to ink the movable type in the printing press. You put the ink there and then you paint the type with this dabber. Then we have wine crockery. So you can see wine crockery. This is an ink dabber. Oh, also I should mention this thing of putting the number with the suit in the corner is just a design choice by the person who uploaded this at NPC. I am not crazy about it. I wish it was just like the white borders with nothing there. There is an Etsy version that doesn't have this. There is a colorful version on GameCrafter, and there is a really cool version by Leonard Jim Narciso, the creator of Maria Celia deck. He has a super cool version on his shop. I might end up getting. I feel like I am slowly moving out of my retail therapy mood. But I don't know, if I end up feeling like I want to get one more deck before I fully move out of my shopping binge, I might get that one. And there are also some decks in NPC that I would like. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it because now that I'm out of my shopping binge, it makes me like, I don't know, it makes me feel guilty, I guess, to purchase expensive stuff. And so I'm going to think about it. It might be like a final splurge before fully going into or out of the binge. Anyway, so this is goblets. I'm looking for the coolest suit and it's not showing up. Hold on. That is the suit that caught my attention in the first place. Books. So we have ink dabbers, which are like a utensil used by printers, and we have books. So here are, cords. Okay, let me just keep flipping through it as I find the books. Here they are, books. I don't know, it's just super cool to have a deck that has a suit of books and a suit of ink dabbers. So yeah, I knew I needed to buy this. And actually, even though I'm not crazy about the number with the suits, I do like this version because the image quality is really great and it is super inexpensive. And of course, being NPC, the card stock is really great. So that is the playing cards by Jost Amman, commonly known as Charta Lusoria, from the 16th century. It's very interesting because early on in playing card history, the suits were not as set, so there are many different variations. And on that same note, I'm going to show you this little one that you have probably seen on my channel, the Inglewood hunting deck. And this one is inspired by medieval German hunting decks. It is very, very cool. This one is by Skadi Press, Ian Cumpstey at Skadi Press. It's inspired by the hold on, I can't see. Stuttgart and Ambras hunting deck from the 15th century in Germany. The suits are hawks, hounds, pheasants, and deer. I have a flip through of this deck, so I'm not going to go into it in detail. I bought it because it's just medieval vibes perfection. So you have the hounds, you have the pheasants, you have the hawks, and you have the deer. Here it says, right, in the early days of playing cards in Europe, there was some experimentation with the suits. And it says that 3 sets of luxury hand-painted playing cards survive with suits based around the medieval hunt. So this one is the Inglewood hunting deck, medieval luxury pattern playing cards by Ian Cumpstey at Skadi Press. It is super sad because he is my favorite creator currently, and he had a Kickstarter planned for this year where he was going to do another edition of one of his decks that I don't own. I have several, I have been collecting them, and I was so going to back that Kickstarter, but sadly, because all of the issues with the US at the moment, he's decided to not go ahead with his Kickstarter because most of his customer base is in the US and it's too expensive for him at the moment. So he's going to put a stop on the production of his decks, and it's super sad for all of us that are fans of his work. Anyway, so speaking of funky playing cards, I have this facsimile from the 15th century, early 15th century, known as Baraja Morisca, or playing cards in the Morisca style. Moriscos were the Christianized Moors in Spain, and I think the Morisco technique refers to hand painting, and this one again is from early 15th century. I don't know, I just think early cards are very curious. This is the only deck I own that I don't know if I am going to read with. This one only has 40 cards, so kind of like other types of playing card decks, but the drawings, because it is a facsimile that survives from early 15th century, there are some cards that are very clear, like these ones, where you could say they could be coins, right? But then the people cards get more confusing. I don't know, I guess this might be a page, this might be a knight, but then for instance this one, and this looks to be like polo sticks, which is something that you see in the Topkapi pattern Mamluk cards that I was also going to show for this tag, but they are very big and I don't want to change the frame of the camera. So these ones look like this. There are several videos, most recently you can see them explained in detail by the channel Pointed Logic, which is a new channel to me that I'm really loving. This one I believe is from the 13th century maybe, and this one is from Egypt. So the origin of playing cards is believed to be in China, and then thanks to the Silk Road, that's how you get them in Europe. And you know, early days, as it said, there was some experimentation with the suits. This one has these drawings that look like bells to me. I've been trying to look for information on this deck, but there isn't a lot of information. But to me they look like bells, so that would be similar to German pips. This deck was thought to be from Italy, but now it is believed to be from Spain, specifically a Catalan deck. And this is the, I think, oldest surviving playing card deck in Europe. That is not like a fancy royalty nobility deck, you know, like the Viscontis. This was for the masses. This was hand painted. You have I feel like you have a queen here maybe, or a king maybe. And then you have swords. You have swords that are also crossed. The suits seem to be similar to the Mamluk cards, except for the addition of the bells, or they look like bells to me. And the back of this is just like this. You see, it's very rudimentary, just the facsimile. It's really amazing that these survived, honestly. And these I think are in the Fournier Museum in Spain. I'm not only going to show historical decks in this tag, but because I started with the playing cards, then I just decided to roll with it. So I'm going to start with like the playing card type decks, and then I'm going to move on to the curious contemporary oracles. So since I am in the cartomancy style, historical, weird, funky historical deck vibe, I'm going to show a deck that I've been showing recently in my channel, so you probably already have seen this, and this is a French Minchiate deck. But the reason why I am showing this and the curiosity decks is because of the majors. As you can see, they have the French suits because it is a French Minchiate. I really adore decks that combine illustration or engraving with the French pips. I think they look really beautiful. See, the combination looks really beautiful. But the majors are a combination. Let me look for the majors. So the majors have gods, like you have Mercury here, you have Venus, you have Bacchus, but then you also have virtues, so like charity, hope, justice. So like that is regular, right? Like that is seems regular, but then other than those you also have the ages of man. So you have the age of old age, you have maturity, you have adolescence, and you have infancy, and then you have the senses. So you have the sense of taste, you have the sense of touch, you have you also have the elements because it is a Minchiate, but mainly the reason why I am putting it in the curiosity category is because other than the elements, the virtues, the gods, you have ages of man, you have senses of taste, so like really different set of measures, or I don't know if these are could also be called triumphs, because usually the triumphs are like the, you know, the triumph of justice, the triumph of temperance, the triumph of fame, the triumph of all those. So I don't know if you could say like the triumph of the sense of taste. I don't know how you would call this suit. I haven't read more about the deck. And this is the Francois de Poilly Tarot or Minchiate. So then let's move out of Europe for a moment. And I'm going to show you a playing card deck that is based on the Tonalpohuali, which is the divinatory calendar of the Aztecs. Now, every time I talk about them, I have to clarify that Aztecs is not the word that they call themselves. Aztec was a word used by Europeans to refer to that population. So there isn't like a straightforward correct way of referring to them. So I'm not going to go into detail, but archaeologists today vouch for the more correct term of Mexica. The Mexica were the Nahua group that was in power, that is known as the Aztec Empire. The Mexica were not the only Nahua group that conformed the Aztecs, but that was, you know, the group in power. Throughout Mesoamerica, they did refer to the people from the capital of Tenochtitlan as Mexica, which is where we get the term Mexicano. In the early texts that you see from the time of the conquest, you do see them referring to them as Mexicanos. That's where we get Mexico, right? But this is not a history lesson. I'm going to show you the deck. So this is the deck that I also showed in a video somewhere. I don't remember. And this one is called Amapatoliztli Tonalpohuali. Tonalpohuali is the divinatory calendar that I was talking about. If you want to put it in contemporary terms, if you wanted your horoscope, you would go to the Tonalpohuali and you would do the practice of Tonalamatl. Now, what I like about this deck is that they are not trying to force the Tonalpohuali into any type of existing playing card system. I think it's a really smart way of taking the Tonalpohuali and putting it in deck form, in playing card form, without making up a system of correspondences that correspond to European playing cards, you know. They are just using the Tonalpohuali. And you do have the structure of 4 suits, which makes sense because in the mythology in Mesoamerica, as in many other places in the world, the 4 paths of the universe, which were, you know, east, west, south, north, they were very important. So instead of having the suits be like, I don't know, coins or whatever, the suits are the 4 directions. And then you have all of the numbers and the signs of the Tonalpohuali. Now, I haven't learned the Tonalpohuali yet. I haven't learned Tonalpohuali yet. But I would like to, which is why I bought this deck. And I thought it was a great addition to the curiosity tag. Now let's move on to another little oracle that is also based on like archaeology from a specific culture and brought into deck form, and that would be going back to Europe. The Awen Tarot, not Tarot, Awen Oracle, and they are based on Celtic coin art. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the cards, and then I'm going to read to you what the letter said when I received them, and I'm going to show you the book because the book is also curious but in an amazing way. Like, the book is 50%, 60%, 70% of the reason why I wanted to buy the deck. So the deck is only like this. See, you don't have keywords. You have the images, and it is meant to be used intuitively. And so you have these images that come from, as the letter says, Celtic coin art. And it's just the image. It's all in this blue palette. These are the backs. And as I said, it is meant to be used intuitively. It is amazing. It is absolutely magical. I love it so much. The cardstock is amazing. The size is amazing. It's pretty great to shuffle, but I'm not going to show you the entirety of the deck because I want to show you the guidebook. The box is also amazing quality. I also got a rune deck from this creator, but it's English runes. But I also got it because of the book. But I'm not going to show it because runes, I wouldn't catalog it as like a top 10 curiosity deck. So this is the guidebook that comes with it. Oh, and hold on, let me read to you the letter that it came with. Awen is an oracle that uses the striking art of the Celtic Iron Age. The little-known genre of Celtic coin art has provided all the imagery here. This book is designed to accompany a unique set of 80 cards whose complex and intriguing symbolism allows the intuitive mind to play creatively with decision-making processes. Each image is presented, described, and explored as to its original meaning. Then a range of possible divinatory interpretations are given so that the reader can relate the images to the circumstances of their lives. But I want to show you how it's done because I think it's amazingly clever, and I fell in love with the way the book is done. So you have the image of the card, you have a title, then you have a description, but the description doesn't assure you of what the image meant originally, because There is nothing you can assure in history, in archaeology. His aim is to approach it in a divinatory way, but through like very serious analysis. So in the description it will tell you like this could probably refer to this, or you know, the image looks similar to another image that is very popular for the Celts, which meant that. Like it doesn't assure anything. It gives you the possible interpretation, possible archaeological interpretation of the image. That I really love. I think it's fantastic because there are so many decks that use like ancient imagery, and in the guidebook they claim that they have the actual meaning of the ancient image. That's never true. You know, I respect this way more, and it makes more sense, and it makes it feel 1,000 times more magical. I think there is more magic in this, in having an image from the past and doing a reading from the present, where you are trying to gather your knowledge and your creativity into an possible interpretation. That feels more magical to me than claiming you have the actual ancient meaning when you actually don't. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going. Then the possible divinatory meaning, it is very much like taking a peek into his thought process. Thought process. It is like how do you say, when you're in like a meeting and everyone pitches ideas, but you don't have to think about them. It's just like say the first thing that comes to mind and make a list of everything that comes up, everything that comes up, everything that comes up. What is that called in English? In Spanish it's called lluvia de ideas, which means idea rain. So you have here like his idea rain of like all possible meanings, but the way it's written, it's not even, it doesn't have like bullet points, it doesn't capitalize anything. It's literally just thought process, just loose ideas. So I'm going to read you, for instance, in this winged spirit card, how it says. I'm going to read you this list. Winged figure, angel, spirit, guardian, bird woman, bird priestess, carrion, warrior, goddess, protector, slayer. Success, peace, victory, honor. Blessing, respite, reward, recovery, healing, renewal. Bestowal of riches, spiritual gifts. Harmony, music, ambivalence, duality, more complexity than at first appears, double-edged sword, temperance, equanimity, vainglory, gloating. Appearances can be deceiving, assumptions, oversimplification. Other world and spirit gifts must be carefully evaluated before accepting. Nothing is given free of responsibilities and expectation. Ideals, wishful thinking, bestowal of new responsibilities. Angels, demons, elemental spirits, subtle creators, messages from subtle realms, morality and amorality, human versus non-human, attitudes and functions, a temporary advantage. So clearly you are not meant to take all of these as keywords for this. It is more like a guide into how you can do like a mental journey into coming up with interpretations. Here is something I really love: duality, ambivalence, and then that leads you to more complexity than at first appears. That's how you end up possibly interpreting an image. So I love how this book is done. I love how this oracle is done, and it's honestly so magical. Okay, so I just have 3 to go. Hopefully I'll go quicker with them. I'm going to stay with Oracle, and I am going to stay with an Oracle that is a contemporary Oracle, but is based in a traditional divinatory system. So this one is called the Magic Friend. It came with this hand embroidered pouch So it's, I don't know if you've seen this style where it's a square and every square has part of an image, and the idea is that you shuffle and then you lay out all of the cards, and then the whatever images end up, for instance here, right? So like whatever images end up matching, obviously you would shuffle and do it randomly, not like I'm doing here. So like whatever image ends up being together, that image you would read. So you do a full tableau and you read all of the images that are together. You do have like a pamphlet of the meanings for the images, but I think because this is a contemporary oracle, you could also hear like the octopus. You could also see what things mean to you. This is hand painted by an Ukrainian artist. It's from Etsy. So let's take the booklet and you would see what the tiger and the octopus means, and that is how you would get your interpretation. So octopus. Now is the time to make a pause, relax, spend some time in solitary contemplation and listen to your subconscious. You will inevitably arrive at a wise solution. That's interesting because I feel like I would view octopus as the opposite, because you know octopus is kind of like the symbol for multitasking. And then the tiger, I think, is success. Yeah, victory, triumph, highest achievement, result will surpass all your expectations. So maybe you would say you are on the right track to success, take a little break. I don't know, like that would be like a very simple explanation, but that's how you would do. And these are the bags, and it came with a super beautiful altar cloth that I've been using. If you follow me on Instagram, this is the deck that had this cloth. I think this one enters the curiosity aspect because of the system. I also have another deck with this system. This one is from the 90s and it's the Russian Gypsy fortune telling cards by Svetlana Alexandrovna Tochkov. I just wanted to show you because it's very beautiful, but you know, it's not another curiosity deck. It's just part of this same curiosity. I counted wrong and I still have 3 to go. Oh my god, okay. So let's move on to this small oracle that is called the A Story Oracle by Girls Underground. This one I bought on Etsy. I saw it on Instagram, which, as I've mentioned before, Instagram is my biggest influencer. More than tarot too. And I saw it and I just need to have it. So this is based on the hero's journey, but applied to specifically female characters. So the cards are like this. She receives advice or guidance. She stands apart. She is separated from her companions. She must protect something special. She defeats the adversary. She stays in the other world. Her trust is betrayed. And I actually got this one because I feel like it will be an amazing divinatory oracle. I have only used it to pair with decks. I haven't used it in a divinatory sense, but I think this would be a fantastic divinatory oracle, and I just adore decks that are bookish in theme. I feel like I have so many ideas of decks I want to make that only have text. And I'm like, I'm not going to make like 1,000 decks based on only text. But I love it. As a book lover, as a writer myself, I love words. and I just had to have this deck. So that's a story oracle by Girls Underground, which you can find on Etsy, or at least that's where I bought it. I don't know if it's still available. Then we have an IrisHelinac creation. IrisHelinac is one of my favorite French creators. I've been following her on Etsy for years. I've been wanting her decks for years. I want all of her decks. But her shipping is not super cheap. So when I was doing retail therapy, I decided I was going to treat myself to some IrisHelinac oracles. I did not buy the ones I want the most because those are the most expensive, and those would fit amazingly in a top 10 curiosity decks, because she has, for instance, like a charm set that comes with a map for like a fairy tale map, and then she has one that is like a magic academy. There's world building, so it comes with a different map. There is an academy with different teachers, different classes, different courses, yes. And then so every, like the cards and the map, everything relates to the academy, and it comes with a book that talks about the academy, the classes, the enrollment, and so that's the oracle. Then she has another one that is based on a haunted manor, but the guidebook is the story of the family of the manor, and she creates all of the stories. And then she has like an asylum deck, where one of the daughters from the haunted manor, she ended up in an asylum, and the guidebook is her diary, and the cards are like a project that she made with her psychiatrist. There is like world building backstory to her newer decks. Those are my favorites, but because of all the work and because they come with maps and everything, think like Nelly's deck in like a Gone Wild kind of a thing. I love it. So this one is the Oracle de Spirit, the Oracle of Spirits, and I got this one because it's so different than everything I own, than anything I own. And this is basically like a spirit board in deck form. So you have the different letters of the alphabet, and then you have different words for each letter, and then you also have numbers. It is done in this kind of like Victorian or like Gothic style. See, you also have numbers, and then you also have seasons, so for like timing. And then you also have a card that is the you also have people, you know, like gentlemen. You have joker cards, you have yes and no, and you have the ectoplasm card. And so there are many ways in which you can read the deck, and in the guidebook it explains. You can read it with a dice that actually, I think I have it here. Yeah, I have it here. So like if you wanted to read it with the words here, you could throw this one, and it's 6, so it would be prepare. But there are many ways. You can use it with a pendulum. It is like a conversation with the deck. I think it's very cool, and I've never had anything like this. This would be for spooky season. And these are the bags, and if you go to her channel, she has an explanation for the silhouette, like a spooky explanation for the silhouette. One of my favorite French tarot tubers adores this deck, and I think she's the one who influenced me the most to buy this deck, because if you can, like, if you know my channel, this is so different than anything I have, but it's by IrisHelinac. She's brilliant, and Offline really likes it. So I don't know, I just really wanted to have some fun with something different. And then finally, to end, I'm going to show the Pussycat Tarot, which I think I've shown before in a tag. And the reason why this one is curious is because of the backs. It is a double-sided deck. In one side you have your tarot, which is kind of peepish kitty tarot. I love the kitties in this. They are really cute and really talkative, chatty. The readings I've done with this, it's a fantastic reader. I really love the black borders, I love the vibe, but then in the back, it's like this, and this is a poetry game. So I've never actually played the game, but I think you are meant to it's like a matching game. So you can see the instructions and you can play the game, and it's a poetry game. So that is why this one is curious, because of the backs. So this has been really long. So I'm not going to show you because this is basically a cat tarot. I'm going to leave it at that. But I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun putting these decks together. I had a lot of fun watching this tag when it was first going around, and I really wanted to do it at some point. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to do your version, if you didn't do the original, or if you want to redo it, I would love to see your version. Once again, I'm Mariana. This is Happening by Chance. And yeah, I will see you soon. In the meantime, I wish you happy reading, whether that be card reading, book reading, charms, weather patterns, dice, pendulum, whatever form of reading you prefer.